Hi guys. So in one of my previous videos I had mentioned that formula is poison. It was my breastfeeding versus formula video. And I mentioned that formula is poison. So if you stay tuned, I'm going to tell you how the formula is poison. I'm going to elaborate on it. So I don't mean it literally like it's rat poison and if you take a sip of it you're going to die. I mean, yeah, you are going to have a lot of health risks and developmental risks, and I will link a video down below in the About section to elaborate more on that and like the science behind it, because obviously I'm not a doctor, so I can't spew the science right now, but there is the science out there to say that there is a lot of health risks and developmental problems and etc., etc., etc. So when I say formula is poison, what I'm referring to, besides the health risks and developmental problems, is it's poisoned our society into thinking that it's just as good as breast milk and breastfeeding, and that that's an option, and you can just be lazy if you don't feel like breastfeeding because they have the formula option. But see, that's our poisoned minds thinking that way. Okay? Breastfeeding is natural. It's what nature intended. And I've just been thinking about this a lot lately because I've been talking to a lot of moms, and there's just everybody said, oh, what works for one child doesn't work for another, and what worked for my family doesn't work for your family, and all this and that back and forth nonsense. Oh, for as long as the baby's fed, it doesn't matter what they're eating. And it's just nonsense. I can't believe what people are saying. It's like, really, honestly, just because you had a problem, and there are certainly exceptions where there is a definite problem medically or whatever it is, there are exceptions, but they are very rare. Okay? Oh, well, my nipples were so sore I couldn't handle it anymore. That is not an excuse. Okay? Absolutely not an excuse. Don't even tell me about sore nipples, okay? Stuff like that is not an excuse. But the formula society has poisoned our minds into thinking that is an excuse because, oh, well, I can just feed them formula, and as long as they're getting fed, that's all that matters. My kid's fine. She's being fed. No. That's not how it works. And okay, pretend like there was no formula. Okay? Back in the day when there was no formula, what did we do? If we couldn't breastfeed, we would let our sister breastfeed the baby, or a close relative, a cousin, an aunt, whatever. Or we would have a wet nurse, somebody else to nurse our baby. Okay, we find a way, we make it work. But now that formula is here, baby doesn't need breast milk. Baby doesn't need to be breastfed. I don't need to bond with my baby. I can just throw it in the crib, put a bottle in its mouth with formula, and go watch TV. I'm sorry, but that just really makes me sad when I hear those stories. And I do hear those stories. And you're going to get all upset. Oh, well, I had this problem and I had that problem. Well, if you did, then I'm not talking to you, okay? After you had your baby, you had like a liver problem and it was poisoning your milk. Yeah, okay, I understand that. Don't feed your baby poisoned milk. I understand that. So I'm not talking to you, okay? Get smart, okay? I'm saying in the majority. There are a few exceptions, so I acknowledge that and I understand that. But this has been on my mind so much that I actually had like an epiphany. I had a realization, and I'm going to share it with you now. Moms who use the excuse of like poor latching, not enough milk supply, their nipples hurt, whatever, those kind of excuses. Do you know what that is? Do you know why they have that? It's called natural selection. Okay? Survival of the fittest. You ever heard of that? Yeah. So, as a human race, we've outsmarted ourselves and outsmarted human nature, which is not a good thing for us, because you notice how this world is kind of going to shit? Well, that's because we've tried to reverse natural selection. Now, if these trashy moms and ignorant people didn't have formula, then what? Then they'd be either one, forced to breastfeed, which would produce a much stronger, healthier, smarter child to grow up into society, to contribute. Or two, what? The baby maybe dies, can't get fed, or has to be adopted out. So you see how it's natural selection, survival of the fittest? Okay? You see what I'm saying? See what I'm going with there? I thought it was a very interesting thought that came to my mind because I've been thinking about it so much. So, when I'm talking about poison, that's what I'm talking about. So don't sit here and argue, oh, it's not poison, my kid is just fine. My kid is healthy, my kid is smart. Okay? But they could have been more healthy and they could have been smarter. That's all I'm saying. And if you're a parent, if you're a good parent, you want the best for your kids. You don't want, oh, it's just good enough. Because guess what? That's not good enough. The best is what is good enough. So, the breast is best. Let me know what you think. Make a comment down below. And please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Ta-ta. Ta-ta.